Hey guys, it's Amon from Our Rich Journey, and I am here to talk to you about what is going on in Portugal. Now, this is kind of a last minute video. This is breaking news because so many of you have reached out to us asking us what is going on with moving to Portugal, considering all the changes that have taken place this week when it comes to the golden visa and a lot of new laws that are going to be taking effect in the upcoming months in Portugal that is going to make it harder to immigrate to Portugal. And so on my walk this morning in London, which we are visiting, I want to give you my take on what's taking place with the golden visas, with Airbnb, and talk about maybe some of the other options that you can do to move to Portugal. Okay, so let's start this conversation off with first talking about a little bit of history. In 2008, 2009, you know that the world was going through an economic crisis that changed the dynamics of a lot of places. And for Portugal, in 2010, 11, and 12, those were really rough years in Portugal. The economy was really struggling. The housing market was virtually collapsing. And so the Portuguese government needed to really jumpstart the economy. And they instituted something called the golden visa, where if you invested a certain amount of money in a business, in real estate, you were able to get residency in Portugal, which really allowed you to move throughout the rest of the EU as a EU resident as well. And so the purpose of the golden visa program was to attract foreign investors that could help jumpstart the economy and help with the recovery from the economic crisis. And so the golden visa program in Portugal became very, very successful. And from 2012 until now, you saw the majority of applicants coming from countries like China, Turkey, South Africa, and most recently, lots of Americans. Now, if you have been following our channel, maybe you actually discovered our channel because we were talking about moving to Portugal. We were talking about our life here in Portugal. And one of the things that you've probably seen on our channel is that we bought real estate here. But one thing that we've always mentioned is that the real estate that we bought here in Portugal, we bought it not as a part of the golden visa scheme. The success of the golden visa program in Portugal was undeniable. It certainly helped the economy recover. It certainly helped the housing market recover significantly. But there was also some really awful side effects. For one, lots of people that were getting these golden visas were buying properties that were set at this arbitrary number. And by having these numbers in place, well, you basically set the floor of what real estate is going to go for in certain areas. It's been called the golden visa bid price. So essentially, owners have set a price and have marketed their properties as golden visa properties to foreigners, setting the price at $350, $450, and basically up, and have marketed those properties to foreigners as a way to get a golden visa. Now, these prices are not based off of appraisal prices, not based off of the market. These are completely arbitrary numbers in many, many cases. But unfortunately, these arbitrary numbers have become the market price. And so now you have a situation in Portugal where homes are starting off at these prices. Homes that were originally going for $100,000 or 100,000 euro or 75,000 euro. You're seeing them listed at 350,000 euro. Now this is outrageous. The rents have become completely outrageous. And the other issue that was coming up, foreigners were using the golden visa program in Portugal just to use it as a springboard to other parts of the EU, where they had no plans of actually staying in Portugal. Their ultimate plan was to go to another country in the EU. And the other issue that was coming up was that these investors who had no intent of living in these properties were just putting these properties up on Airbnb, hoping to recover some of the money that they had invested in them. Now I say some of them because if you run the numbers on lots of these investments, even the Airbnb income that they were generating really didn't cover the actual investment. The other thing that these investors were doing is if they weren't putting them on Airbnb, they were literally just leaving these properties vacant. That's how valuable the EU access or residence was for many of these investors. Because for them, a 350,000 euro investment allowed them to move throughout the European Union where they could do other businesses, where they could make more investments, where they could make additional income. There were so many different, I'd call them hacks, that were built off of this golden visa. And the real losers in this were the residents of Portugal, because if you have all of these foreign investors coming into Portugal, investing in housing, which is a fundamental need of the people that live here, if they are pushing the prices up, then the result is unaffordability for the residents of Portugal, for the citizens of Portugal. And it leaves them in a very, very bad situation. And Portugal used to be a very affordable place for the citizens of Portugal, but it's becoming harder. It's becoming out of reach for many people in Portugal to buy a home, to even rent a home. And so from a political standpoint, the government had to respond. So now let's come to what has taken place this week with the Portuguese government and the Golden Visa program. The government has instituted a package of laws that has ended the program. And so what that means is that if you are interested in moving to Portugal by investing in real estate, that is not going to be one of the ways to obtain a golden visa here in Portugal. And so this brings me to the point where I want to share what we think about the ending of the program. Now, in our opinion, the golden visa program, it served its initial purpose, and it's gotten to the point where it's not necessary anymore for Portugal to have this program in place. The economics in Portugal have been stabilized, the banking system has been stabilized. Portugal has so much going for itself that it doesn't need a program like this to help its economy. In fact, I think it is probably hurting its economy because it's pushing so many of its citizens out of the country. A lot of Portuguese people can't afford to live in Portugal, and they're forced to go to other countries to work. And so I think that the ending of it is a good thing from that perspective. The other thing is that the Golden Visa program actually encouraged people to buy homes here with the intent of not actually living here. And in our opinion, that's not the kind of people that you want moving to, that's not the kind of people that you want buying property in Portugal, because they're taking it out of the inventory for people that actually do want to live in Portugal. Now, for those of you that are concerned about this program going away and your ability to still move to Portugal, I have to raise a question that I've always had when people are using this program to move to Portugal. If you really want to move to Portugal and you have 350,000 euro to invest in real estate, you don't need to come here on a golden visa. If you have that kind of money, you can qualify for the D7 visa. There are other ways to come to Portugal just based off of the amount of money that you have in the bank, based off of your assets, based off of your investment portfolio. If you are a digital nomad, if you have income coming in from other sources, you can move to Portugal. It is a lot easier, it is a lot cheaper, and I think it's a smarter way to come here. Now, one concern that I have is that the other ways to move to Portugal may be changing in the future. And I bring this up only because politically the government is also under pressure to do away with some of the programs that allow foreigners to come here based off of their income. Because the thought is that they are bringing their higher incomes here and pushing up the price of everyday goods and services. I can see both sides of the argument, and I'm not here to debate that. But depending on who's in office politically, you may also see changes in that degree. You know, lots of countries in the European Union are very, very difficult to immigrate to. Portugal isn't one of those countries because of the D7 program, for instance. But that could soon change. And so I'm going to continue my walk. I'm going to enjoy the UK. I think the sun is supposed to be coming out today, hopefully. Doesn't look like it though. But I know later on this week it will get better. And so if you guys have liked this video, please do us a favor. Leave a comment, subscribe to our channel, and join the journey.